Really, kind of no rear view mirrors, and that's why I really did the book. I didn't really want to talk too much about fighting in the book because that was part of my job and protecting my teammates. So I really chose a different kind of route on how to do a book and kind of want to do it my way, and it ended up, I think, pretty much how I wanted it.
You start with a story about you and Mark Messier. You had this game in which you had a fight, you scored a goal, you're feeling pretty good, then he takes you off to the trainer's room and said, enough is enough. What was he saying to you there?
It was one of those times where, kind of a guy who's won so much, like a mentor type of guy, comes in and you're in awe of the guy when he gets there, and you just follow everything he does. He's one of those guys, and his kind of track record spoke for itself. And I was a pretty cocky kid, and I was a pretty tough kid, so I was kind of fearless, and I respected people, but I never had anybody tell me really what to do, And his words were, "You got to knock that stuff out. If you want respect in this league, you got to respect your peers." And I said that in the book because I really was able to take that and really learn from it, And I think everybody throughout life, and Matt, you probably got somebody you looked up to in this business, and that's how life goes. And that's why there's stories about policemen and firemen and those type of people. Like, you got to respect the past. And I think one thing I've learned the way I grew up was from my parents is always respect people. It doesn't matter where you come from or what you do. And I've been like that since I've been a kid. And
do you think you got respect on the ice? I mean, it's interesting as a player in this town. I mean, you won't buy another drink, I would think, for the rest of your life in Toronto. But do you think you got the respect that you wanted on the ice as a player?
At the end of the day, Matt, it's really my teammates. They're the ones that I felt accountable to. They're the ones who I protected, and that's why I ended up having the most fights in history. Not because I wanted to. It was part of my job, and I always wanted to be the best at it. Don't ask me how crazy that is, saying I want to be the best at it, being the size I was. But it really started when I was 14 years old, playing junior C against 19, 20-year-olds, that I really realized, I'm like, wow, this guy's 20, I beat him up. I'm 14, right? So, and then when I became 15 playing junior B, I had 350 penalty minutes, but I was able to play on the top line too. So I knew I could kind of play, and then I got to Peterborough, and I got to play with Mike Ricci, who was the Canadian Junior Hockey Player of the Year. And after my first year, I got a lot of room, so I actually was able to develop as a player, because in junior hockey I was known as one of those guys right away. And then I got to pro, and here I am fighting guys who are twice my size. And there's really no choice to make any excuses. That was just part of my job. And to be honest with you, the mental side of it was the part that I really tried to come across in the book.
Do you have any regrets about that job? I mean, again, we hear from a lot of former fighters who will say, I didn't like this job. I didn't like what I was forced to do. I wasn't comfortable in that position.
Well, I can honestly tell you, and now that I did a book, I never talked about fighting after my career, and I didn't want to. It was part of my job. Mm-hmm. But I got to be honest with you, as crazy as it might sound, I actually look forward to it. It was pretty fun when I was younger. Now that I think about it, I'm like, what was I thinking? But I have no regrets. I enjoyed every day.
You talk about one regret in the book. That is the Scott Niedermayer incident, which people, I think, in this city still remember. I was in a car listening to it on the radio and couldn't believe you hit a guy kind of out of nowhere in the playoffs, and you knew what you had done at that moment was wrong, and you still say that this is the biggest regret of your life.
It is, because I was playing the best, and I thought, we could have beat New Jersey, and I was playing the best hockey in my career, and I was in their heads. I knew that, and there was 3 legitimate, maybe 4 legitimate shots that we were right there to go at a cup, and Matt's was always the guy, and he was always kind of alone, and he never really got that bona fide second guy to be with him. Got guys at the end of their careers, but you really never got anybody in their prime.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look now, all the teams that win, you always have two guys, Crosby, Malkin, Taves, Kane, so Matt's never really had it. So I was the guy who, I was around here so much, and I played a lot of playoff games. That was the most exciting part about being Maple Leaf and playing the second most playoff games in Leaf history for right wingers after George Armstrong. Those are things I really cherish about the game. I don't really look back and think I have any regrets for what I did, but after a few guys passed away, I really said, and they were big guys too, Bob Probert and Wade Belak, and both friends of mine, and one was a big, number one rivalry of mine. But when they passed away, and people started, pointing the finger at fighting and those type of things, I actually wanted to do a positive book, and I wanted to give people, some of my life experiences and hopefully help people in all walks of life. And it's really about treating people how you want to be treated.
Do you think, just very briefly, we're just about at a time, but do you think there's a point in history, maybe it's right now, where the role of the enforcer, someone like yourself, is not going to be part of hockey?
Well, that's been going for a while now, Matt.
But there's still fights.
That's the most difficult part, though. Watching my son the last 4 years in London be the leading scorer in regular season playoffs, and guys are really trying to take his head off. And that's really what I did, is I protected guys like that. So
you think that there should be somebody there to protect yourself?
Well, I think the league's doing a better job, much better job, but I still think it could be better. And because it is pretty dangerous out there. They're going faster than we were going, and there's no red line, so guys are hitting guys, they don't make it look on purpose, but they're trying to hurt guys out there, especially in playoffs. So hopefully that cleans up a bit. But the game's in a great place right now. It's fun to watch.
And your son is just lighting it up. It's good to have you here. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Matt. Really
Tie
appreciate
Domi,
it. Thank you.
Former Toronto Maple Leaf, has just released a memoir. It's called Shift Work.